Hello, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. You know, folks, this is right in my wheelhouse, as I call it, as they call it, as this is what I used to do in Manhattan North Homicide Squad. This is what my detectives used to do, and it's called interview and interrogation. And it's a very subtle art and science behind interview and interrogation. And the detectives from the Orange County Sheriff's Office and the Kissimmee, I think I'm saying it wrong, Kissimmee Police Department, they did an outstanding job. They differed a little bit, and I'll discuss what I would have done a little bit differently than them. But I was very impressed with their professionalism. I was very impressed with their knowledge. I was very impressed with their patience in the interview process. Many of you civilians that can't imagine themselves interviewing a murderer who you know did it, who you know absolutely killed this little girl, and sitting in the same room as him and keeping you cool and treating him like just a regular, everyday human being, an everyday human being with respect, like human beings deserve respect and dignity. And despite the fact that you know he murdered a little girl, you, the detective, are still giving him respect and dignity. And when you look even at this picture on the screen, Stephan Sterns is a despicable character. He really is. And if you notice, the detective's trying to look at him right in his eyes, right in his face. And what does Stephan do? He looks straight ahead. He almost never, ever looks at the detective in the eyes. And all of you amateur investigators out there know from dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, whether it's in your job, in your family, you know that people that can't look you in the eye, you do not trust them. That is a sign of the hundreds and thousands of signs of deception. That is probably numero uno of deception, not being able to look the person that you're speaking with. Look at him. There's another totally different picture than the first one on the screen. And what do we notice about his arms? Yes, they're folded. His arms were folded during the entire interview. Folded arms. That, I'm going to tell you right now, is a sign of deception. It is a sign of being defensive. And during this whole interview, Stephan Sterns had his arms folded. Couldn't look at the questioners, couldn't look at the detectives in the eye. But despite all of that, and despite the fact that they know he's lying to them, he's lying to them about numerous things, and that's one of the most important things about interview and investigation, is that you go into the room knowing several truths. And those truths, you're going to question the perpetrator with the truths that you know. And something very, very different in this interview, I'm going to point out, that didn't happen before. What did they do at the very beginning of this interview? Do you guys know? Yes, they read Miranda. You have the right to remain silent. What does that mean? Well, that means he's not a witness. He's a suspect. And in this case, they knew he was getting arrested after this interview. No matter what he said, he was getting arrested after this interview. So they read him Miranda. And what did he do like a good little perpetrator? He waved. He said, yeah, I want to talk to you. He was willing to talk. Only so far he was willing to talk. So we're going to weigh in with our expertise on interview and interrogation. And we're going to show you parts of the interview of Stephan Sterns, and this is from 228, right? And we're going to comment on certain things. We're not going to show you the whole thing is 5 hours long, but two or 2.5 hours is him sitting in the interview room. And one thing I also want you to know about the interview room that is also scientific. Remember I told you an interview room is supposed to be bare? It's not supposed to have any pictures on the walls. It's not supposed to have a clock. Look at that room. Looks like a rubber padded room, right? That a nutcase would go in, right? As compared to this room. Look at that room. That's a friendly room. Real furniture. Pictures on the wall. Clock on the wall, even though the clock is wrong. But they say a broken clock can be right twice a day, right? That's the cliche. But a different room. And that's, we'll tell you, well, the room that they used for Jennifer Soto was a friendlier, kinder, more comfortable room. This room here, this is business. This is the detectives mean business in this room. And this means someone's getting put in handcuffs after they get out of this room. That's an interrogation room, as we used to call it, the box, right? So, folks, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your wig, your toupee, whatever you have. Hold on to family members. Hold on to your service dog. You may need a drink watching this show today. You're entering true crime from a police perspective. You're entering the off-the-cuff zone. The police off-the-cuff zone. There has to be some common sense.
Yes, sir. They have the car stopped at 10th and Ranch, Michael Byler.
We still don't know who pulled the trigger.
Folks, with me today is one of the crowd favorites, of course, professor of criminal justice, retired NYPD Sergeant, attorney, and all-around good guy. Welcome to the show, Professor Michael Geary. Mike, welcome.
Hey, Bill, thank you for having me on. Welcome, everyone. Welcome.
Mike, I want you to answer this because, you know,
Okay.
you're an attorney, right?
Right.
When the two detectives walked into the room, and we'll watch it in a minute or so,
Sure.
one of the things that right away screamed out to you and screamed out to me and may not have screamed out to the YouTube true crime audience is that they read him Miranda. They introduced themselves and they read him Miranda. You want to explain what that means to the professional law enforcement person?
Okay. All police officers in America are required to notify a criminal defendant of the criminal suspect of the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney if that suspect is in custody and is about to be interrogated. In custody means that the person is not free to leave. Interrogation are tough questions that the truth of which may elicit responses that implicate the suspect. So what they did was they respected the Miranda rule set forth by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1966, and I loved the way they did it. They walked in, they were very polite. Sorry it took so long. Do you want some water? We got some water for you. They sat down, they introduced themselves, and it was almost like, we're from the Kissimmee Police Department and yada, yada, yada. And here we are. And we just have to clear up a few preliminaries. I know you talk to many people, but just have to read this. You have the right to remain silent. Anything say can be sentenced in court of law. You have a right to an attorney if you can't afford one. Do you understand? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And they put it away. They absolutely complied perfectly with the requirements of the Miranda rule. If alarm bells are not going off in that criminal suspect's head, as they did not go off in Stephan Sterns' head, and he doesn't say anything like, no, I don't want to talk to you, I want a lawyer, then you can just proceed with questioning. And he said he understood, and they proceeded with questioning. They did it textbook, perfect.
Mike, as you know, I was in the detective bureau as a sergeant, as a boss for 16 years. I started out in robbery, And then I went into the squad, regular squad, and then I was in homicide my last 10 years on the job. I've seen and been involved in thousands of interviews and interrogation of suspects and witnesses. I love these detectives. I thought they were fantastic. I thought the two people that interviewed Jennifer Soto were fantastic. However, I think I would have done it a little bit differently, and I'll comment after we watch this. And I'm going to put the interview up on the screen right now, and we'll play a little bit of it. I'm going to try to play this. The sound isn't as good, perhaps, as it is from a regular video from a news station, but we'll try to put it up as loud as possible.
That's okay. Didn't mean to wake you up. I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Mark. I work for the Kissimmee Police Department. This is Corporal Elgin. Brandon.
Mike, I just want to say Corporal Elgin, the gentleman on the left with the beard, his body language during this whole interview is he wants to tear Stephan Sterns' head off. He just cannot hide it, his animosity. He wants to kill him. He's seething. He's seething the whole time, but I like the guy.
Oh, yeah.
I understand you've been here for a little bit. So just to give you a little bit of background, the reason we are here now is because Jennifer and yourself reside in the
Some
city
of
of
the stuff is
Kissimmee.
redacted, so it shuts off.
Initially, they thought, dropped off at school, and it would be an Orange County case. It seems like since she lives in Kissimmee, that's the reason we're going to do the case. Okay. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me just grab some things here real quick.
Folks, just so you know, during the very beginning of this investigation, they didn't know which jurisdiction was going to catch this case. Was it going to be the Orange County Sheriff's Office? That was in the beginning. Orange County was the law enforcement agency of note that was going to investigate this case. Then through the investigation, they found out, or they believe, and I think they know 100%, that she was murdered in Kissimmee, that she was actually murdered in Venetian Bay condos. So that's how the case became part of the Kissimmee Police Department. It was their case to investigate. That does not mean that the Orange County Sheriff's Office does not assist in every step of the way with this investigation. I thought I should explain that, and let's move forward with this interview.
All right. I know that you were brought up here by detectives, right? Detectives drove you? Okay. And that was earlier today.
I have no idea how long ago that was.
It was sometime today.
Sometime today.
Yeah. So being that you're here, we're here, you were taken here by detectives, I just need to get this out of the way just so we can talk about how we're or where she may be, okay? All right. Have you ever been in trouble ever in your life?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had your rights read to you at any point in your life?
I must have.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm going to do them again just to get it out of the way, and then we can talk about school and stuff like that. Okay. All right. Yeah.
See, the reason the detective is presenting the Miranda warnings in such a loose, cavalier way is because the interview could be stopped right now if Stephan Sterns says, well, I don't want to talk to you. I want an attorney. End of interview.
That's
But
right.
the goal of these detectives today, they know he's getting locked up at the end of this interview. They know he's going to prison or jail after this interview. Their goal is to get him to tell where Madeline's body is. Their goal is to get him to confess to the murder. And we will watch this to determine whether or not you believe they were effective or not in that attempt to A, find out where the body is, B, to have him confess that he murdered Madeline Soto. So just so that's out there right on the table, this is their goal. It's to get a confession and it's to find Madeline's body. Let's see how successful they are.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any question. Do you understand these rights? Okay, perfect. All right. So before we start talking, one last thing. Can you just raise your right hand?
I have never, ever seen this before in my life. And this is a Florida thing, just so you know. We don't do this in New York City, but it's fine. They want to do that in Florida. That's cool.
Swear and affirm that the statement you're about to give is the truth, nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge, so help you God.
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. Let's talk about your... We just talked to Jennifer a little bit. So,
folks, just so you know, someone just asked in the Only Me Baby 3. No, this is not his first interview. He was interviewed by, obviously, when he was a witness, he was interviewed several times. And he was interviewed by a detective named Frank Hunt and also Mara, I think her name was, a female detective. So this is not his first interview. This is his first interview as a perp. He's a perp. He doesn't know yet that he's getting arrested. It should have been a hint that they read in Miranda, but he's a dope, and he's a dope, but he's smart as a fox. He's dumb as a fox, as they used to say. And his body language is screaming guilt. But the detectives have to prod along very slowly, succinctly, and, speak softly, but carry a big stick, as Teddy Roosevelt said. Some stuff's
where'd you
redacted.
meet her?
Work.
Where was that at?
We worked for a home building company. It's no longer in business, but we were both in the call center area.
Oh, okay. So like selling homes or?
Yeah.
It's amazing that he's only 37 years old. He looks like he's about 60. And this is redacted right now. They're talking.
Lived in Kissimmee.
Okay.
With him. Because I know Jennifer says she's lived in Kissimmee for years.
Yeah. Off and on for years myself.
Okay. Any family that lives in Kissimmee?
No.
Okay. So on and off, how long do you think you lived in Kissimmee?
This stretch, 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Jennifer kind of mentioned that, then you moved back to wherever your parents live. And where is that at?
It's in Northport, it's down by Sarasota.
Okay, so on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So you had a birthday recently. She had a birthday party Sunday? Is that right?
Sunday, yeah.
Okay.
So
Did you come to the party?
No, I was not. I was on my way up at that point.
Okay. So the party ends. Did you pick them up from the party?
Someone must have dropped her off.
Okay.
She was there when I got
Folks,
there.
just notice
They
that
asked me to make sure that
when Stephan Sterns talks, just notice he does not look the interviewer in the eye. He's looking straight ahead in a downward direction because he doesn't want to look at the other Corporal Elgin. He doesn't want to look at him either. So again, as I spoke in early on, that is a screaming sign of deception, that you can't look someone in the eye. And he has that down.
and Sharon did her bedtime routines, which she did. She was already on top of it, so nothing to do there.
Okay. What time do you think you got back in Kissimmee?
What time I got into Kissimmee?
Yeah.
Maybe 8 o'clock, 83-ish, something like that.
And I apologize if you've answered these questions before. It's just like I said, we're coming into the game late, so I may ask you things that you've already answered probably 3 or 4 times.
Well, I apologize as well. My memory is not super reliable on time frames. I've been medicated for the better part of a week.
Okay, that's fine. What do you take medicine for?
Anxiety mostly. I've been having some money troubles lately, anxious over that. So
Okay, well, hopefully your money troubles get better.
I've been
You know, Mike, when I have money troubles, I just pop some Ativan myself. You know, I think it's are we supposed to be sympathetic to this 37-year-old child? You know, I've had some money troubles and I've been medicated for about a week. Welcome to the world, Stephan. You know,
Yeah.
medicated on Ativan since probably
Mike, you got something to say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Oh,
you
no,
off.
no. Oh, no, not at all. I was just making some notes on the side. No, I'm
Okay.
good.
Saturday.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so when you got to Kissimmee and you got to the apartment, what happened? Like,
Made some dinner, made some ramen. I love how I make my ramen. Then we started watching Sister Act, but it was time for her to start getting ready. Basically, just as we were starting Sister Act.
okay,
And that was just about bedtime.
what time is bedtime?
Usually 10:30, 11-ish,
Okay.
something like that. It's a spectrum, not a set time.
Then, so who's going through the bedtime routine? Because I know Jennifer says she has somewhat of a little routine too that she does. Is it her? Are you talking about?
Jennifer's routine is taking her meds, eating some food so that she can have the proper calories for the meds. And then she's got about an hour to do whatever she needs to do because she needs to fall asleep at that point.
Okay, gotcha.
Her bedtime routine is taking her bedtime meds, brushing her hair. She should have showered that night. And then she goes to bed as well. Usually with some bombs or something on in the background. Bombs burgers.
Got it. What are the sleeping arrangements?
She sleeps in her.
Okay. Did she sleep in her bed Sunday night?
No. I was just back. I'd been away for a couple months. In the same bed
I was
with her, so-
sponging off my parents for a few months, so it was time for me to come back and sponge off of Jennifer. You know, I'm a sponge. You know.
To get some serious sleep. So she said no to that and suggested that the guest room upstairs had a big enough bed. So some snuggle cuddle time that would suffice and Jen would get to sleep in peace.
Okay. So you say snuggle time. What does that mean?
I like to be alone. She is extremely dependent. She does not like to be alone at all. She needs human presence around her. Simply.
Gotcha.
We've been trying to wean her off of that, but
He's trying to wean her off of that.
difficult.
What?
It's a little redacted
I
again.
think he's on his way down too to help.
Gotcha. Okay.
Last I heard.
All right. So Jennifer says, "Go up." So snuggle time with you to help her go to sleep. Is that right?
Just bedtime. Yeah.
Bedtime. Okay. Did you stay in the room the entire night?
Not the entire night. I'm usually up and down sometimes. So I might go grab a drink or something. Or yeah, I'm up and down sometimes.
Gotcha. But you stayed. You didn't at any point go. Okay. All right. So night goes on. Morning time comes around, and it's the school. Walk me through that a little bit.
He's so tired from working those 3 jobs he works. You know,
He's not a morning person.
No, he's not. I'm not a morning person, and I'm sorry. I'm yawning. I'm so racked up on Ativan. You know, I'm tired from the 3 jobs I don't work. You know.
Morning routine. She usually starts waking up. We set about 3 alarms. First one goes off, we let her keep snoozing.
Do you remember what time her alarm goes off? Or what?
Not really. Maybe 7:30ish. I'm not sure. Alarm goes off. We let her snooze about 3 times while we start getting ourselves ready. And after the 3rd snooze, it's time for her to get up for real and start getting ready. Typically, she will have showered the night before, so she needs to brush her hair, brush her teeth, excuse me, get her book bag together, eat some breakfast if she's going to eat there, and then we eventually make our way out the door.
Okay. So walk me through, like, you leave, you take her to school in your car?
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of car do you have?
It's a Lincoln. It's actually my parents' car because my car is down south. It needs maintenance, and we're scared to drive it too much. So I'm driving a Lincoln right now. Got out early. The plan was to get some McDonald's on the way. So we got out nice and early.
Do you remember what time you left, roughly?
Not 100%.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my memory has not been super reliable.
No, that's fine.
But it was early. Maybe 7:30, 7:45, something like that. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not certain.
That's fine.
You know, folks, I just want to point something out in the interview. He never, ever mentions going into Jennifer's room, that whole story about the dog and him getting the chain for the dog. He never mentions that.
Good
So
point.
those that think that Jennifer Soto is telling the truth, there's a lie. One or both of them is lying. And unless they would have gotten together and said this, but he never, ever mentions that. And that's why times, places, TPO, time, place of occurrence, is so important because it locks someone in. And here he's, I'm not a morning, but I'm not good with time. I'm not a morning person. I was so messed up on that van, you know. But this dope, this mope, dope, whatever you want to call him, he knows what time he left. And then when they start throwing things at him, all of a sudden, maybe the times ago, I really don't know if that was right. I'm not sure if that was the time. You know, I'm so medicated. You know, I'm so tired from my 3 jobs. I don't work, right? So, Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah, Billy, they're going very, very slow, which I think is great. It's not like on TV when there's drama. So this is actually how interviews go. You know, you did it many times. You get a homicide, you're probably going to work 48 hours straight, and you're going to be doing many interviews as much as you can. You're going to be busy. But when you come to interviewing suspects or even witnesses, you got to go slow. You got to make sure, you know, you're going over everything. And he's, at this point, he's probably been interviewed like several times as a witness, possible witness, but not as a suspect. They did a great job when they read Miranda to him. They notified him of his Miranda rights. He didn't understand what they said, that they are now going to take over the case because of, and do the search warrants and everything at the house, because the house is located in Kissimmee. And he didn't understand the significance of that, which is really excellent for the police, because he didn't suddenly realize, oh my God, they think the crime occurred, her missing or her being hurt, it was actually in the home, not by some stranger out in the street by her school. That passed him by, went right over his head. So that was excellent. And they're going very slow. They do not want to alarm him. The detective is like, got it. They're going over very slowly. You don't want to push this guy too much at this point. The moment he says, I want a lawyer, I don't want to talk to you, the interview is over like that. And so they're going very slow. They're not being pushy. They're giving him a little bit of space. He's actually in that corner, but they're giving him a little space. It's not a big room. They're not pressing him. They do press him several times, I noticed through the interview. But at this point, they're going very slowly. They're trying to get that repertoire going, see how he answers questions. What does he remember? What doesn't he remember? How does he answer? They're looking at that body language, and they're going very slowly, one step in front of the other. It's really kind of like a master class for somebody on this is how police interrogation works.
Yeah, he's excellent. And folks, I just want to mention, I want to thank Paula Mooney from the Plunder podcast, who enabled me to get this this interview. I thank her, Paula Mooney from the Plunder podcast. Carol Grayston, thank you so much. Carol just gifted 5 Police Off the Cuff memberships. Thank you, Carol, for all you do. Carol's a fantastic moderator, along with Kim Alliston and some of our other mods. But Carol, thank you so much for all you do. And folks, if you're not subscribed to us, just go on the screen, hit that subscribe button. I made it so easy. I put a subscribe button on the screen. Give us a thumbs up, hit that like button. If you want to contribute to us financially, we have a Patreon with 4 different levels. We also have a YouTube channel membership, which Carol just gave away 5 memberships to, with 5 different memberships. So thank you so much. So let's go back to the interview. And folks, this is how real police interview and interrogation goes. And I know many of you are super, super impressed with this detective. And of course, the detectives that interviewed Jennifer Soto, they were outstanding too. And this is, detectives don't just come to the job with those skills. They acquire them over a long career basically through practice and through learning from other skilled interviewers. Here's back to the interview.
Was Jennifer awake when you guys left?
Semi-awake. I was giving her updates as we were going along. Getting ready.
So again, this is at the point he would have mentioned the dog. Never mentions the dog.
Getting dressed. We're leaving now. Goodbye. But she was sleeping in, so I was just giving her little updates and poking my head in as we went. But we leave the house. We start making our way to the school. Most of the time, we make our way over towards her school area. I ask her if she's still moved to McDonald's. She says no. She's quietly ignored. Okay. So we continued on. It was still pretty early though, I think. We still had some time to kill. It wasn't really time to drop it off yet. I had apparently forgotten my clicker key fob for the gate. So I ended up actually turning around at some point and going back to the community to get the clicker. I had to use my parking sticker to get in for the guy to scan.
So folks, that's such an important little piece of information that he had to go back into Venetian Bay condos because I forgot my clicker. I had to go back. That was 8:19. So he drives back into Venetian Bay condos, and guess what's in his hand? His clicker. The security guard sees him with his clicker. I forgot my clicker. It's in his hand, right? And guess what else is in the car? The dead body of Madeline Soto is in the passenger seat. And it doesn't, the security guard maybe just thinks she's sleeping, and he just takes note that she was there, but she wasn't moving, and he allows Stephan to go through the gate. This is at 8:19 in the morning. So that whole story about the dog and all this other stuff, the timeline is way too tight for that even to have happened. At 7:30, 7:45, he dumped Madeline's backpack and her laptop and her one white Croc into the dumpster, and he's caught on video doing that, right? When he comes back at 8:19, he stays inside for 12 minutes. That whole thing took 12 minutes. So when is he walking this dog? The answer is he's not walking the damn dog. Let's go back to the interview.
I had some errands to run afterwards, and I wanted to have my shop. But we still had plenty of time as far as I knew. So we did that, grabbed the clicker, left again. And that's when we drove over to her school area, and I dropped her off where I dropped her off.
Okay. Do you remember where you dropped her off?
Yeah, it was the stretch of road. I forget the street name. It was the stretch of road that the school is on. Make a right onto it. It goes down a little ways. There's some communities over here, and up further there's a church, and then there's the overpass and the school on the other side of the overpass right there. I dropped her off on that stretch where the communities are.
Was she by herself when you dropped, or was her friends there?
Yeah, she was by herself. She said she was going to go find her friends and hang out with them and show up.
Okay.
It was still early.
Where did you go after that? Like, did you see her walk towards the?
I saw her making her way towards the direction of the school, but she was like kind of shuffle step. She was meandering her way there. She was rummaging through her backpack for something. I assume she was looking for headphones, maybe.
So the guys there, if you know this case well, so he just lied to the detectives, right? So they know he lied because they know she does not have a backpack on her because he threw it in the dumpster. So if you're a good interviewer, good interrogator, you start taking note of that. You know he lied. It's not time right now to confront him with that lie. But put it in your back pocket. You got it. You know he's lying. And you're going to use it. You're going to use that at some point.
At home that day, so she might have actually been looking for her phone.
Gotcha. Okay. What was she wearing when she left, or when you dropped her off?
Green hoodie, black shorts.
She also was not wearing black shorts. She was wearing blue jeans. So it's either his warped mind, his distorted memory, or he's lying. But he was with her, and he couldn't even remember what she was wearing. I was so messed up on that event, so who knows? But he couldn't even remember that. And the detectives know the answers to all of these questions, obviously.
Black or blue, black shorts, white Crocs.
White Crocs. Okay. All right, so she's walking towards the school. Do you continue straight when you leave? Or do you turn around?
I turned around and went back the other way. I was watching her in my rearview mirror, and she was going the right direction, so it looked okay.
And where did you go after that?
The next stop I wanted to go to was the vape shop. It opened at 10, so I had a little while, so I just kind of meandered around and eventually made my way over there to wait for it to open. It didn't open when it was supposed to, so I left and came home and went back about an hour later when I was sure it would have to be open at that point. Got what I needed there and made my way back to home again.
I hate that instead of just saying I drove back, he says he has a habit of saying, I made my way back. Madeline made her way. It's his expression he always says. I made my way back to the house. I made my way back to the vape shop. It's like, it's such an annoying way to talk, but that's who this guy is.
Seems like any other morning.
When you got back home after school, was Jennifer home at the time?
I think she was on her way home. I think that she had a blood appointment, and we were both kind of going to arrive very shortly with some time with each other.
Okay. So when you got home, when both of you got home, walk me through the rest of the day.
Just hung out, chit-chatted. It's not much to recollect.
But you stayed at home pretty much all day, or no?
Pretty much until maybe noon-ish or 1 o'clock. I had a few errands to run, but I wanted to be back in time for us to go. So I just ran up and down 192. Ended up getting a flat at some point, which made me late to get.
Where'd you get a flat at?
Somewhere along 192.
192 is a big road.
It is, and honestly, it all looks the same to me. So I've been asked, do you remember what plaza you were next to, what color? And I'm like, I'm ADD as it is, and I was in a medicated fog for the better part of the week. I'm lucky I remember what color I'm wearing right now.
Do you remember what errands you were running?
Yeah, I wanted to go check out some game shops.
Where were these game shops?
There's Coliseum of Comics, there's House Rule Games nearby. A lot of the Targets and Walmarts carry the game I was looking forward to. We just had a new release on Friday, so even though I don't have much in the way of money right now, I still want to go look and see what the situation is.
It's always nice to window shop.
It is. And I'm a serial consumer. So I was just driving around up and down 192, sort of just aimlessly, honestly. Just killing time till it was time to go back.
All right. So when you got home, did you and Jennifer leave from school?
So I got home, it was 10 minutes later than Jen had wanted to. By 10 minutes, I called her and said, hey, where are you? I'm so sorry, I got a flat. She already left. She had been gone for 10 minutes. It didn't make sense for her to come back and get me. She likes to be the first in line when the kids start coming out.
Okay. Then wasn't at school. So what happened? Did Jennifer call you after that, or what?
I was already on the phone with her while she was waiting. We were just chit-chatting. We do that. We just keep each other company even if we're not physically together. And she's... that's when we started asking questions, Did she go somewhere else? Did she know that you were going to come pick her up? Did she possibly go to her office, which has kind of been what she's been doing for the past working a new schedule. So we started making all the calls. No one had seen her yet. So that's when we started getting a lot more concerned and panicked. She drove around a little more, looking for her, looking along the walking paths, and didn't see anything but her. Not there, waited around, not there, went back to the school, not there. At that point, the whole family started rallying up and going to meetings. And I think that it was around that.
Going back to school, how was she like on the car ride there?
She calmed down, sleeping. Sleeping along the way. She does that.
How often have you?
Not often, honestly. This might have been my third or fourth morning school run. I'm not normally the one to do it.
And on the other occasions, has she had you drop her off in and around the same location, or how does that?
She has this image thing. It's just she only likes to be seen getting out of certain cars in front of the school. But it's, I guess, kind of a hoopty, and she's embarrassing. Right?
Lincoln?
A nice looking Sentra. So yeah, this is not the first time she's asked me to drop her off a little ways down so she could walk up and look cool.
So you say she was conked out on the way there. You said you took her to school, or you were on her way to school. You needed to turn around to get your clicker.
Correct.
Was she sleeping then too?
She was. Yeah.
Okay.
It had been an early morning, so I figured it'd be fine to let her sleep in the car ride.
Okay. When you got back to the apartment complex, did you go in the front gate, or because I know there's the front entrance and then the back entrance?
when I came back after forgetting my fob.
Yeah. So which way did you leave?
I would have had to go in the front.
Okay.
And the guy scanned it. And I got in, got my fob, and left. I don't remember if I left out the front or the back.
Did you stop anywhere else in?
I think the real purpose of him to return to Venetian Bay condos was to get his cell phone, because he had the clicker in his hand, and he called it his fob. He referred to it as his fob. But when he pulled up at 8:19 in the morning, came back into the Venetian Bay condos with Madeline's body in the front seat, the security guard saw him and said he had his fob, or he had his clicker. That's not how the security guard spoke, but he had his clicker in his hand. So that whole story going back to get his clicker was bullshit. I believe he went back to get his phone. However, he's a mutt. He's a perp. He may not have even turned his phone on, knowing that the phone is going to be a walking, talking GPS device and is going to track everywhere he goes. But he did have his phone, because later on he called Jennifer with his phone. So these are all new revelations. And folks, this is not, again, so someone asked in the chat, this is not the first time he was interviewed. But realize this: when he and Jennifer are interviewed earlier on, they're interviewed as, well, Jennifer, the mother of a missing person, and Stephan as the boyfriend of the mother of a missing person. Right now, he's being interviewed as a perp. He's getting arrested right after this interview. And if it hasn't occurred to him yet, then he's a dope, because they read him Miranda. What was that for? The other thing was, the night that they did all the search warrants, Jennifer Soto told him, you're the target. You're the one they're looking at. She told him this. Is that consistent with the mother of a murdered child at that point missing? I think she knew, I think her daughter was murdered. And she told him, you're the target of this investigation. Why do you think they're doing search warrants at our house? Why do you think they're searching your car? Why do you think they took your phone, dopey? You are the target. You are the suspect. And then she makes the famous call to his father and says, you better get Stephan a lawyer. Are you kidding me? Mike.
Yeah, Billy, that's the thing about Jennifer and this guy, Steph. He's smart enough in some ways, like street smart in some ways, and really dopey in others, because he doesn't realize the significance of what's going on while he's in it, talking to these detectives. The Miranda rights, the idea about them taking over, and the possibility about the crime scene being at the home. Things go over his head. I think he's into maybe he is a little medicated. Maybe he just thinks that if he keeps that, poor old me kind of talk, that he can just BS his way through it, because he sticks with the story. Keep it simple. Don't, be really foggy about the times and places and things like that. Don't give the police too much information. The fact that Jen told him, beware, Steph, they're looking at you. They took your phone. He's probably hoping that, he did that reset on the phone and wiped everything clean. It didn't happen the way he expected, and he ended up having to borrow his dad's phone, and then he's complaining about the dad's phone. But yeah, you wonder where his head is at. He's sitting there. The alarm bells should be going off in his head, and to grab a lawyer and say it's over. He didn't do that. Thankfully, the police are going to make a couple of runs at him and kind of press him as this interview goes on. And he kind of backtracks and backs up a little bit and just shrugs and says, I don't know. How can that be? I don't know. But he's sitting there, and he should know that, that you are the last person that is reported to have seen him, poor Maddie, alive. What does that make you? That makes you suspect numero uno. I'm glad he's dumb enough that he doesn't realize that.
Absolutely. Lay Miller, thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker. Again, I'd like to thank Paula Mooney from the Plunder podcast for allowing us access to this interrogation video of Stephan Sterns. Go back to the interview right now.
No.
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. Did you take any trash out from the apartment?
The night before, I think I did. I'm not sure. I took the trash out at some point, but I don't remember if it was the night before or it was the morning of. Yeah, sometimes we get trash bags piling up by the door. Love to see them.
Is there like a common trash place, or like is there take their trash too?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that where you took the trash out?
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't remember if that was Sunday night or Monday morning?
It could have been Sunday night.
The detective is easing into the fact that he threw Maddie's laptop, her backpack, and the one crock into the dumpster. He's easing into that. He's moving very, very slowly. I love this detective, and I love Corporal Elgin on the other side, who clearly wants to rip Sterns' head off, but is keeping his composure as best he can. His body language is he's very irritated, the Corporal. And BB2, thank you so much. He gifted 5 police off-the-cuff memberships. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Really, very, very much appreciated. Let's go back to the interview. This is where the interview starts getting salty, as they would say.
I don't recall. I'm sorry, I was in the fog.
You know, how is that a man? Whenever he gets in a predicament, I was in the fog. I was so medicated on that. Like, dude, you're a man. Shut up with your damn medication. You know, it's so irritating to me. This guy, it was okay to murder a 13-year-old girl and to SA a 13-year-old girl for 5 years, but when the shit hits the fan, I'm not sure. I was so medicated. Ugh.
Well, okay. So you don't know?
Supposedly they got video of her walking past the church or waiting at the church for a while.
You know, early on in the investigation, that was put out there. The police put it out there that they had video of her. I think it was a ruse. It was a total ruse that they lied to Stephan. I will break it to you. The police do lie in order to get a bigger truth. They lied to him and told him that so he's thinking, they're believing me. They're believing me. And I think they did that purposely to buy time. That I do remember that, Mike, that they said that there was video of her walking by the church.
Yes. Yeah, they were told very early on, within like 8 hours or so, they were told, yes, there was one camera maybe near a church building that had caught images of someone looking like Maddie Soto walking towards the school.
Yep. Yeah. Let me get back to the interview because it's getting juicy right now.
Oh, yeah. This is a great part right here.
And then leaving.
How's your relationship with her?
Great. I'm one of her favorite people in the world.
I'm one of her favorite people in the world. He's telling them his relationship with Madeline right now. It's cut out because they're redacting it. So I'll talk through this till it comes back on the air. It's okay. We're back.
How old are you?
I'm 37. About to be 38.
You seem like a genuinely nice person.
I try to be.
Jennifer talks very highly of you. You know. So the morning school, when you came back, get your clicker. What was your?
She wasn't saying anything. She was just asleep. She was just reclined in the chair, sleeping.
Okay, explain to me, like reclining backwards.
Just, like, just laying back in the chair,
Mm-hmm.
just like that, I guess.
Okay. All right. Stuff on here. I'm too old to lie to people. Too old to beat around the bush. And we seem like we're having a generally good conversation right now. Okay. The only thing that I ask for from you is, and I will reciprocate, I want you to be honest with me as much as I'm being honest with you. Okay. There's cameras in all over the place, as you can imagine. Nowadays, cameras are everywhere. Okay. So we see you coming in at the guard shack. Okay. We see you go by the dumpster. Okay.
I may have taken some trash with me then.
What was in the trash?
House trash.
House trash?
Yeah. So it must have been that morning then. We'll toss trash bags on the back seat, and wherever we're going on our way out, we'll drop that out. I think I may have mentioned to her.
You know, Natasha S., that's a great comment. He's lying. She was leaning all the way to the left away from the door. 100%. That's what the video showed. And he's even lying about that. And the detectives know all of this, but they're letting him lie, and they're putting the lies in their back pocket. And they're gonna move forward with the lies very soon.
I have to double check.
Okay. Was everything in trash bags?
I'm sorry?
Was everything in trash bags, or was there any items that were just tossed along with the bag?
I think it would have been trash bags or maybe some boxes too. Some birthday stuff, leftovers. I can't remember exactly what.
Okay. When you for school, did she have her backpack with her?
Yes.
She did. Did she have her school computer with her?
Yes. Presumably, yes.
Presumably.
Okay. She should have.
Once again, this goes back with the whole honesty thing. There was things in that trash bag that got thrown away that probably shouldn't have been thrown away. Okay.
What?
We'll get that in a minute. But right now, our main focus is on finding. That is our number one focus right now. Okay. Do you have any idea where she may be?
No.
None whatsoever.
No.
Okay. All right. Do you know? Okay. And sounds like
Oh, this is redacted.
And something may have happened. Do you think
think so. I don't think what could have happened.
Okay. All right. Do you know anybody that lives in St. Cloud? Do you know where St. Cloud?
Sunshine Susie, thank you so much for the $49.99 super chat. The state has a slam dunk case. Thank you, God. You know, Sunshine Susie, I would never say that, but you're right. There's a tremendous amount of evidence in this case, but you never know what a jury is going to do. But in this case, they have 2 shots at this guy. One for the 60 felonies for the SA, and the other is for the capital murder case. So they have tremendous amount of evidence. I'm pretty sure he's going to get convicted.
That is.
St. Cloud, that's north or south or
East.
east?
East of Kissimmee.
Yeah. I haven't been out there too much. But yeah, I'm familiar with St. Cloud.
Okay. Whereabouts in St. Cloud? Like, do you know friends out there, or?
I don't have any friends really. I've driven out there a few times before, mostly just when I'm meandering up and down 192.
Were you out there this week?
Yeah, I was out there sometime this week. Sometimes I just drive and meander around and explore. And drive till I don't know where I am, and drive till I know where I am again. And just driving, it's peaceful sometimes.
All right.
If I got time to kill, I'll just drive around.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you're saying when she had her backpack, presumably her school computer was in her backpack, and you described her wearing a green jacket, some kind of dark colored shorts, and white Crocs. Okay. Well, I can confidently tell you she did not go to school with her backpack.
How's that?
Because we found it in the trash. So, Stephan, here's what I'm asking you and pleading with you is to dig down and do some soul searching. Okay? You understand? Family's pleading with you. I'm pleading with you because this is all that we need to find. And it's, as more time goes by, it's tough. I have kids, he's got kids. And this little girl's out there somewhere that we need to know where. And I really, really, really think you can help us. Okay. I mean, you want to get something off your chest. I don't know what it is, but I'm pleading with you.
I don't know. I don't.
What happened?
I dropped her off.
Where?
I dropped her off on the road to school. That's the last I saw her.
Sometime throughout the night on Sunday, did you guys have any interaction, conversations?
What, like fight?
No, I'm not saying fight. I'm just, did you guys sit up and talk, or?
We talked while I was making ramen. She was excited about her choir performance coming up. She was singing a little bit. I told her it was pretty. It reminded me of Sister Act. That's why I wanted to show her that movie. Just talking about a crush she had on a boy.
How'd that make you feel?
Fine. She knows she's not old enough to date, but I told her crush on. Get your crush. That's healthy.
Do you think Has she had any boyfriends in the past?
Not per se, you know, boyfriends as however they can be early on, but we decided that she was too young, needed to avoid that BS.
All right. Being that she's too young, so she shouldn't be having sex with boys.
She's all the that stuff. None of it counts. It's real. I just told her she'd be better off waiting till high school.
Has she ever talked to you about boys?
A little bit sometimes. A little bit.
Has she ever, because I asked Jennifer the same thing, has she ever disclosed to you about being sexually active with boys?
No.
Do you know if she's ever been sexually active with anybody in the past?
Not that I'm aware of. I heard there was some sort of incident when she was much younger where she did something with the phone or a camera but got scolded for it. She was very young. She didn't know. She got scolded for it though. But that's vague. It's just remembering what someone said offhand.
All right.
He's going to lay it on him soon.
What happened to your hand?
Mm-hmm.
Flat tire. I haven't changed a flat tire in about 10 years, so I made a rookie mistake and had my thumb too close to where the jack and the frame meet, and it slipped, and the frame came down on my thumb and pinned it between the jack, which I feel like I got off surprisingly light with that.
Ouch.
I yanked it free. You're not supposed to do that. It was okay. It's got the worst of it. It's bruising under the nail.
What about the other scratches?
Courtesy of a janky tire iron and the road.
Did you bleed at all?
Yeah, this one had some blood and this one had some blood, but not much. It clotted fast.
Do you know what popped your tire at all?
No idea. Tire just started going floppy and then
Pretty worn out or
way
something?
floppier and then just completely freaking separated. Thank God we had a spare and a jack. Janky as it was.
So typically when changing a tire and stuff, you tend to get brake dust and dirty and all that.
Yeah,
Did you happen to?
positive that I.
It's a picture of his hand on the screen with all those scratches. They look like human scratches from
Would you
someone's
end up doing to
nails.
clean up or stop the bleeding and stuff?
Nothing, actually. Just
You
went
didn't get too
home
dirty?
and washed my hands and that was it.
Your clothes get all messed up and all, or?
Not bad, surprisingly.
What were you wearing, by chance?
This. So I think still wearing this. I'm still.
Christina from the chat, excellent comment. People who are lying give too much information when questions about minor things and trying to get away with something. Christina, you are 1,000% correct. And you know, he talks about that ride to school. You would think he was driving from New York to Florida, the way he described that. You know, so we made our way, you know, like, what do you mean you made your way? It's a 20-minute ride to the damn school. And why are you leaving 2 hours early? You know, like the whole story is absolute bullshit. And, you know, the language, I made my way. I never heard anyone say, yeah, I drove there. No, I've never heard anyone say, I made my way. It's like absolutely pathetic.
Wear the same clothes.
Oh, so you kept pretty clean.
Try to, I guess.
You weren't wearing a red shirt?
He was wearing a red shirt early in the morning. But I changed clothes later because that shirt was in a couple days old at that point. And the flat tire happened after that.
Did the flat tire happen before or
After.
after?
It was sometime afternoon between noon and like 2:30. I don't know how long it took me to fix it.
And you changed your shirt before or after going back to get the gate clicker?
don't recall. Maybe after. I can't. I'm so sorry. I'm medicated. I've been
I'm
medicated.
medicated.
My memory is just not as
I hate when
alive
people
as
use that as an excuse.
I was in a fog and half asleep that morning as it was.
Or on her own when you took her to school?
Yes.
What are you thinking about?
So I'm spacing out here. Long day, no sleep.
Who else has access to your car? Are you the only one that drives it?
My parents have access.
But here in Kissimmee?
Yeah, Kissimmee, I'm pretty much the only one with access to it.
So safe to say you'd be the only male driving that Lincoln?
Presumably, yes.
All right, I want to get back a little bit to you saying she's not allowed to have boyfriends or anything like that.
She can have crushes. She likes them.
Mm. All right, have you and her ever exchanged, like, do you guys exchange text messages? How do you guys communicate?
FaceTime. She'll FaceTime me at night when I'm not around. Before bedtime, say goodnight. And I'll talk. Sometimes we don't even talk about anything. We'll just sit up there doing our own thing and just with each other's faces on the phone. Just
That's not
spend
normal
time,
either.
you know?
What happened? So the deputies made a comment. So what happened to your phone?
I have no idea what happened to my phone. I was pushing off doing this update for a while and ended up trying to do it. I don't know what the hell, my head being in the state it was, I wasn't paying attention. I ended up somehow doing some sort of option that updated the OS, but it ended up like wiping my phone at the same time. Even just now, the phone that my dad gave me and set up for me, I literally just pulled it out of my pocket and the sucker was reinitializing again.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's just me and technology right now, or I'm just not paying attention, or.
Did that happen once to your phone, or
Uh,
how many times do you think you updated your phone?
I think I tried to update it twice, and I don't know what happened.
Okay, and from what I understand, that you gave the deputies consent to look through your phone. You did, okay. And you voluntarily gave it to them so they could bring it here to do the extraction and stuff like that. Okay. What do you think was on the phone?
Text messages,
Mm-hmm.
emails, phone stuff.
Pictures?
Oh yeah.
What kind of pictures were on there?
Training card pictures, lightsaber pictures, Disney pictures.
You have a Google account?
Yeah.
Do you save pictures to your Google account?
Sometimes.
Or is it automatically? I know sometimes phones sync to a cloud and.
Yeah, I think it backs up to Google.
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes when you reset your phone and your phone updates and puts these apps back on your phone, sometimes they will put the images back on your phone.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you have
Oh, I assume so.
any pictures of you? And
Probably. I mean, we went to Disney, took selfies on the train. She got back from Puerto Rico and had her hair braided. We got pictures of that. All sorts of pictures. family events. Was not as much of a shutter, but take them every once in a while.
Any other pictures that you think of? Here's where I'm going to be brutally honest with you. There's your phone. And I'm pretty sure you know what some of those pictures are about. You're a very intelligent person. And I don't want you to discredit yourself by saying you don't know about all the pictures that are on your phone. You understand what I'm saying? So do you want to add to the list of pictures?
No. Should I be talking with a lawyer right now?
I can't answer that question. My sole purpose right now is to see if I can find, and I'm really hoping you can help me.
Okay. Well, I'd like to try to help, but I feel like I should probably have a lawyer present at this point.
So you're wanting an attorney?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That can happen. I want to let you know you're not free to leave. You're being detained, okay? Do you want to know what you're being detained for?
Yeah.
Capital sexual battery and possession of child pornography.
Okay.
So we're going to step out. If you need anything, please tap on this door, okay? And there's going to be detectives outside that will be able to assist you.
Okay.
Well, good luck to you, Mr. Is it Sterns?
Yeah.
Stern. Stern.
You know, I just want to make a couple of comments. I think the detectives were great. I really do. One of the things I would have done, because he was lying, right? And they knew he was lying. I would have went at him really hard because the danger of him lawyering up so existed. So I would have said, look, we know you murdered Madeline, right? So the only prayer you have, dude, is if you tell us where her body is. Or else, guess what? We're going to tell the judge, we're going to go for the death penalty on this case. And you're going to get the death penalty. Because they were being too nice to him, in my assessment. And look, as I said, I think they were great. And every single detective I've ever met has their own style of interview and interrogation. And some may disagree with me right now, but he had one shot. He had one shot to get him. And look, they knew in the beginning of this interview, he was getting arrested. They knew it. They had the evidence on his phone. So that's why they read Miranda right early on in this investigation. They read his Miranda warnings. And that indicated he was getting locked up. He was getting locked up. So look, they have the evidence. Go at him about the murder. Go at him. You're bullshit. You're lying. That's a lie. You was never I would have went at him hard because you had nothing to lose. Look, they went at him easy. And look, we all know what happened now. So it's easy for us to say. But he was going to lawyer up. So why not go at him? And maybe use like, look, be a man for once in your life. You murdered this little girl. And purportedly you loved her. And she loved you. And you murdered her. You know, this judge and the juries that hear all this, they're going to want to fry your ass. So I would have used that technique and may not have worked either, but you had to give it a shot. You could tell where it was going because look at the things he lied about. He lied about her having her backpack, lied about her having her laptop with her, lied about what time he left, lied about her sleeping, lied about why that he needed my clicker, coming back into the place. So all of those things will lie. So that is my only criticism of the detectives in this interview. Your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, Billy. Yeah, I saw as I was going through and watching everything and taking notes, I saw that they kind of, went at him gently 3 times. One in the beginning with the books and by the trash, and the second time with the books, and said, look, I just want to tell you, we all know she didn't make it to school that day. And I loved what he said after that. He went into, this is about 4 hours into the tape, about 4 hours and 7 minutes into the tape. He tells him, the book, the backpack, and the stuff and the back and the computer was in the trash. And he started saying, look, I know, Madeline, we need to find Madeline, and that girl needs to be found. And he said, and I really think you can help us. Could you get something off your chest? It's kind of like a classic thing, what they call the Christian burial speech. We appeal to the person's morals and humanity to say, look, please, we think where she is, and please help us give her a decent Christian burial for her family. And so they went at him there, and then they went at him at the end. I think you're right. If they was getting towards the very end, he hadn't lawyered up yet, and they could have just kind of like really surprised him with instead of just talking to him towards the end about the pictures, they could have just said, oh, by the way, we think I already asked you where she is, and you said you had no idea, but I think you're a liar. I think you actually killed her. Instead, he went towards the kind of like the slightly easier road by talking about the pictures. But fantastic job. And he was, like you said, as soon as he mentioned the pictures, Steph lawyered up, and I think he kind of knew that. But
Mike, what you said has worked in a lot of interviews. I would have said, Stefan, do you believe in God?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in life after death? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't believe in God. Well,
right.
Get straight with your God right now, because we know you murdered this little girl. So get straight with your God and tell us at least where her body is.
Right.
And I've seen that work before. I've seen that work on hardened murderers. And this guy's no hard guy. Believe me, this guy's a punk, So it's all, and look, it might not have worked either. And as I said, I am not criticizing these detectives. I'm just saying, taking it, perhaps they could have gave that one shot because, before he mentions that word lawyer, you got to take, you have to read the defendant. You have to read the perp. What is he going to do? And he was lying the whole time. And they didn't really confront him with his lies till like right before he lawyered up. And Willa Knotts just asked a very good question. Are there any statistics one way or another to go hard on them versus easy to get them to confess? Willa, I've seen detectives that are hardcore, and I've seen ones that just use a very soft voice, like this detective Mark. Mark never gave his last name, and tried to appeal to be a nice guy. It's good cop, bad cop. And even though Corporal Elgin wasn't a bad cop, but he certainly was not the kind and soft guy. More Mark was a big, tough detective, and his style of interviewing is excellent. He did a great job. I want to go back to the video just for a little bit, and we're going to show you they're collecting evidence from Stephan Sterns. And you talk about like getting arrested when you really know your life now belongs to the state. Here it is.
Agreement with the Sheriff's Office of Osceola County. Whereas before me, the Honorable Judge, it's hard to read his handwriting, of the 9th Judicial Circuit of Orange County, Osceola County, a sworn written application affidavit search warrant has been made on this date by Detective Moore of the Kissimmee Police Department, assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division. And whereas the facts made known in this application and search warrant, there may be cause to certify and find probable cause to believe that certain evidence, to wit, DNA, genetic material, buccal swabs from you, Stephen Michael Sterns, blood, saliva, or epithelial cells to be collected from you, Michael Sterns, photographs and swabs of your penis, and clothing worn by you as of right now. All right, this is evidence. This is believed to be evidence of the felony crime that we've already talked about that took place in Florida, which is a violation of statute 7940114B and 8270715A, prohibiting the crimes of sexual battery, possession of material depicting sexual performance of a child. Currently exists within Orange and Osceola County and is presently believed to be under your control, Stephen Michael Sterns, and that the law relating to said offenses are possessed on you, who is more specifically desired below, and then it has your name and date of birth and social. So Stephen Michael Sterns is your first name, social, birth 4/25/1986, and you're a white male with black hair, brown eyes, 6'2". Now, therefore, the law enforcement officer named above, which such lawful assistance as may be necessary, you are here commanded in daytime, nighttime, or on Sunday, as the agencies of the situation may require, to enter and search the above listed person that we talked about earlier, with the taking of the DNA material, buccal cells, through a buccal swab, which will be done by the appropriate personnel and will involve no unreasonable intrusion into or upon the body of you, Michael Sterns, for which the evidence is to be collected.
I just want to talk about this. They obviously got, these are search warrants. So
Right.
they have a search warrant to take his DNA. They have a search warrant to take his clothing. They have a search warrant to take all kinds of evidence from his person, including pictures of that they will match up to the horrific photos that were on his phone. And this is the most intrusive type of evidence collection the state can do. But is anyone crying tears for Stephan Sterns? No, because he violated a 13-year-old girl. Actually, let's say a 9-year-old girl, because it had been going on for 4 or 5 years. So no one is shedding any tears for this guy. Military Ma from the chat. Bill, so you think Detective Kevin's manner would have been more productive if he was drilling Jen for sure? I'm not saying that, Military Ma. What I'm saying is, I thought the Detective Mark, that was his first name, I don't know his last name, I thought he did an outstanding job. And I think he was great. But I think that he could have switched over to interview him a little more aggressively near the end, because the guy, he was lying. And once he laid on him that they had the evidence in his phone, he lawyered up, and that ends the interview. So I thought that perhaps he should have went at him about the murder and used all kinds of psychological tools to get through Stephan Sterns. And he may have still lawyered up, but I'm just saying perhaps he should have tried that technique before. And you can never predict what is the catalyst that's going to make this mope call for an attorney, right? And surely what made him call for an attorney was he knew they had the goods on him. And he knew the game was up. So I think I want to talk to a lawyer. All of a sudden the bad guy now wants to talk to a lawyer. So what we're seeing now, of course, is these, and I'll cut to the chase right now. We'll get right to what they were collecting here. They're photographing everything.
And then do you have a suit?
Swabs. I think they show a photo that we can't show on YouTube. So, but they're taking pictures of his genitalia to match up against the photos that are in that phone.
No.
So, yeah, you can't be more intrusive than that.
I didn't see any other injuries. I mean, it was in the dark. Do you guys have everything you feel like you need? Do you want to?
Yeah.
You want to just have a seat for a minute? Let him take a, here, let me pull it out for you. Let him take a look at the photos, make sure we have everything so we don't have to make you do all this again.
Handcuffs are digging into my joints here.
Which
I'm trying
one?
to find it comfortable. I'm trying to get it to a comfortable position.
The right hand?
The left one's the most uncomfortable. I think.
Okay, face the wall for me so I can see.
the right one. I just got it to verification.
Mike, you know another thing that I noticed that they're doing that is really horrific? They all have their guns on. And you should never ever be in a room with a perpetrator where he's under arrest, you're interviewing him, where you have your firearm. And they all have their firearms with them, and that's a procedural no-no.
Yeah, they should have their firearms in a secure locker right nearby. But yeah, because look, he knows he's going to prison forever. He may be very desperate. Even if he doesn't get the gun out, he can get control of that gun, and he may be able to shoot someone. Yeah, that you got to be really careful at this point, because this is where he is freaking out. Although he's acting calm, if he feels that he can get over on one of the officers, he may be desperate enough to go for one of their guns.
100%.
This one's too tight.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Do me a favor, have a seat. Let me swap my gloves because I don't want to touch my collar while in these gloves. And I'll swap them out and then I'll get you new ones.
Thank you.
I'll be with you in a second. Hold on, let me take this off. Alright, stand up for me, please. I just want to make sure that main line is, you know what I mean? The main line on the wrist is seen. All right, go ahead and move forward, spread feet, wide, 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 more, there you go, just like that. I'll take it.
That's that Detective Mara beside her.
Oh, okay.
Better?
Yeah.
I recognized her voice.
Is that still okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, have a seat.
She's very smart too, so let's get her opinion. But I
Yeah,
think
we're going to.
So Stephan Sterns is being processed. They're taking DNA. They're taking photographs of him. They took his clothing. About as intrusive as you can get in a law enforcement scenario, of them taking all these things as evidentiary matters and evidence. And I don't think there's anyone that's followed this case that at this point is feeling sorry for Stephan Sterns. I think what we're really doing is feeling sorry, of course, for Madeline Soto and what happened to her. And as I said, that he's at the table reading all the documents. Look, this is Molly. He makes me nauseous too. Tom Hanukkah, I wonder how he looks since being in jail for 7 months. I mean, I when I see pictures of him, clearly he looks a hell of a lot older than 37 years old. To me, he looks about 20 years older than 37. And that was before he went to jail. So just a horrific scene, and we all know now he's been confronted. We know what happened. They found Madeline's body. Now, Mike, and I'll say this is that what speaks for Stephan Sterns now, what screams out for Stephan Sterns now, is evidence. And I will almost guarantee you that underneath Madeline Soto's fingernails is the skin of Stephan Sterns. And that is so damning as to, it's look, here's his hand. Here's a picture of his hand. And those are scratch marks. Those are 100%. That didn't happen from the jack and the car slipped and pinned my hand against. No, that's scratch marks for someone who's being strangled that's trying to fight off her attacker. And that's what that's from. Guaranteed there could be DNA, not just on his clothing, but of course in all the bedding and all of that stuff inside the house. Don't forget, his car was a crime scene. Jennifer Soto's car was a crime scene. The apartment at Venetian Bay Condos was a crime scene. So that's what screams out for the dead. That's what screams is something called evidence, something called DNA. And you know something? All this other evidence they have is amazing, but juries want to hear about DNA. Juries want to hear about blood. Juries want to hear about video evidence of him taking her body out of the front seat of the car and throwing it into the trunk and driving around like a savage. Juries want to see the video of him driving into Venetian Bay Condo with her dead body in the front seat of the car, coming back because I need my clicker, you know? All of those things, Mike, a scream out for justice.
Oh, yeah. You had to look at all of the mountains of evidence, all that circumstantial evidence that they have. And, and those things are excellent. And those things have been, in use for many, many years. But I think what people like is the DNA because it is so 100%, accurate. And it's amazing and it's new. And there's really nothing that you can say just to say, oh, no, that's not my DNA, because the procedures and the processing of it and the analysis is so accurate. I think at this point, if I'm really his attorney, what I'm thinking is, look, they got you on these phones, on the phone information, the phone pictures. Now we're going to really, the worst one is going to be the next one, Steph. And I'm going to tell you, I think you're going to be convicted also. If I've ever heard of a slam dunk case, this is it. You never know, though. But, even if we convince one juror, all it is a hung jury, and they're going to do it again. And if they convict you, then they're going to go for the death penalty. And we're going to do a penalty phase. And we're going to have to try to convince at least one juror that your life is, your miserable life is worth saving. And that's not going to be very easy because there's nothing in his background. There's nothing in the circumstances surrounding the death of poor Madeleine that anybody could even think reeks of any bit of mercy towards him because he was such a monster. So I think the only hope he has is if his attorney can convince one juror at the second trial that maybe there's, one reason to just extend a little bit of mercy to him, although he truly deserves the death penalty. It is an amazing job by all the detectives. I got nothing but complete praise for them. And like you say, they worked quickly. They were professional. They knew what they were doing. They got the goods on them. And so we could all be thankful for that. And so whatever justice we can get now for Madeleine, it'll come through the efforts of those detectives and of the district attorney.
Absolutely. Callie from the chat. Police off the cuff, do you think it's possible Jen is the one who fatally harmed Maddie? Callie, it's possible. I don't think she's the one that killed Madeleine. I think Stephan killed her. And I think many of you have been saying in the chat, many of you have been conjecturing from all different channels that is it a possibility that Madeleine was pregnant? And yes, that is a distinct possibility. Would that have caused this little weasel, Stephan Sterns, to murder her? That's a good possibility. And his behavior was erratic after a phone call that he received from her. So that is a distinct possibility. Look, I just want to make this clear also. In no way am I criticizing the detectives on this case. I think all of them were fantastic. The detective Kevin, who interviewed Jennifer Soto, and Detective Mark here that interviewed Stephan Sterns. I just would have tried, because it didn't seem like Stephan was going to cooperate. I would have tried the harder thing. I would have put the death penalty on the desk and said, listen, you're going to get fried. you're going to get fried because you murdered her. And now you want a little get out of jail free. You're never getting out of jail, but maybe you'll stay in jail for the rest of your life and you won't get the death penalty. You tell us where Madeline's body is, because other than that, any judge that gets this case is going to fry your ass after you're convicted, because you are guilty. We know you're guilty and you're going to be found guilty. So that may have worked. It may not have worked, but I would have tried it before. And look, you think that Detective Mark was a little bit surprised when Stephan said, I think I better see it. I better get an attorney. I think he had to almost expect that was going to happen when he laid the truth on him. When all of a sudden Stephan realized, oh, I'm not going home. Now I'm under arrest. Now they're not being as nice to me as they were before, you know? No, now you're going to jail, buddy. All right. Good luck with the rest of your life, right? It's cold, right? But think of what he did. Think of what he's being charged with, right?
That's
Mike,
right.
your final thoughts. I think we did a good explanation, probably better than anyone else can do on YouTube, about what the detectives' goals were in these interviews and that they accomplished their goals. And I think they did. And I think many people that watch true crime were extremely impressed with these detectives. Your final thoughts, Mike?
Bill, yeah, this was a great interview. And even the other detective interviewed, Jen, this is how it's really done. This is real life. This isn't drama on TV where they have to solve a case on Law and Order in 40 minutes. And, you know, and they do it that way. You know, yeah, this is the way it's done. This is excellent. This is thorough. Inch by inch by inch by inch, they get to the truth and they challenge the suspect, and fantastic. And so therefore, all of the good work that they did will now be used to get justice and get for Madeline. And that's what we hope for. So everyone keep tuned and just pray for her and pray for the rest of the Soto family that had nothing to do with this poor girl's death.
Absolutely. I want to thank everyone that came in to watch the show. I want to thank Kim Alliston, our moderators, right, and Carol Grayston, and all the folks that support this channel. And so a lot of new faces. Dawn Marie, always great to see you. Dawn Marie, Pauline, Buckles. You guys are always the most loyal. Sunshine Susie, thank you so much for your generosity. And realize, you know, something, we tell it like it is. We are true crime from a police perspective, and we're giving you why and how. They used to call it Nyatwi, when, where, who, how, what, and why. And that's what we give you, you know. And I hope you appreciate that, because we appreciate you. Have a great night, everyone. I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff. On behalf of myself and Professor Mike Geary, have a great night and God bless.
Good night.
One episode just ain't enough.